Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're zeroing in on a really universal mental challenge. It impacts performance across all sorts of high-stakes environments, really.
Mm,
Whether you're, navigating markets, scaling a business, maybe high-level competition, we're talking about the brutal downswing.
right.
And this isn't just like a frustrating hour or one bad decision. It's that sustained streak of loss that hits you.
Yeah.
Well, even when you honestly feel you're playing your absolute best,
Yeah.
if you've been through this, you definitely know the emotional reality. It's that corrosive self-doubt that creeps in,
Mhm.
that sudden hesitation on aggressive plays, high-value plays, and the endless replaying of every lost decision in your head when you should be sleeping.
Oh, yes. That 2 a.m. replay loop.
Exactly. And that emotional fallout, it's often, well, way more damaging than the actual financial hit
It
itself.
absolutely is. That loss of confidence, that's the real battlefield. So our mission today is essentially to give you a shortcut. We're unpacking proven, actionable mental game strategies. Stuff designed to halt that confidence spiral, like right away.
Good.
We need to help you refocus your mindset and, maybe most critically, teach you how to respond consistently, rationally to variance.
Yeah.
Because that luck element, by definition, you can't control it.
Right. Can't control the cards. Okay, so let's start with a foundational clarity check. Because if you don't define the problem correctly, you really can't solve it. A lot of people call just a bad hour a downswing.
Yeah.
What is a true downswing?
That distinction is just paramount. A true downswing is a consistent loss of capital over a prolonged stretch. We're talking sessions, decisions.
Right.
Despite your underlying choices actually having a positive long-term outlook. It's a period of negative results where, the math and your skill just haven't had enough time to win out against randomness.
So it's a real test of patience.
It's a long test, exactly.
That brings us right to the core issue for diagnosis then. Differentiating between genuine variance and, well, poor play. Because if your losses are due to poor play, no amount of mental prep is going to fix that baseline issue.
Correct. Variance is simply the natural, unavoidable noise. It's luck. In the short term, a week, a month, maybe even longer, luck can totally dominate.
Right.
Your results only really align with your actual skill over thousands, maybe tens of thousands
Right.
of repetitions. Poor play, though, that's different. That's when your technical decisions consistently lead to a reduction in profitability.
And you just used a key term there, profitability. You mentioned decisions with a positive expected value, or EV. For
Uh,
someone who hears that term, maybe hasn't seen the formula, how should we think about EV simply?
Okay, think of EV like this. It's the long-term mathematical profitability of a single action. If you make a choice that has positive EV, it just means if you could repeat that exact spot 100 times, you'd win money overall.
Even if you lose this specific time.
Even if you lose the very first time, yes. Good players focus relentlessly on making positive EV decisions because they trust the long run. When you're in a true downswing, you're losing money even though you're making those mathematically correct positive EV choices.
Okay, so if the problem's poor play, you need like coaching, technical work.
Yep.
If it's variance, you need mental toughness. How do we, the listener, figure out which one it is?
Objective data. It's really the only tool you can trust here. This is where you absolutely have to review your hand histories or your decision logs,
Okay.
get unbiased feedback from people you trust, partners, mentors. Use tracking software if it applies to your field. These tools give you that necessary distance.
It gets you out of your own head.
Exactly. They help identify if you're suddenly making errors you didn't make before, or if you really are just facing an improbable streak of bad luck. Don't trust your emotional memory here. Trust the numbers.
What's fascinating, though, is why the pros aren't immune. I mean, these are the best in the world, yet they also suffer massive downswings.
Well, you could argue they're more exposed to really severe variance
Oh, interesting. Why?
because they play such high volume, often at higher stakes. Downswings are just inevitable for anyone dealing with high repetition and randomness. The real distinction isn't in avoiding the downswing. Nobody avoids them forever.
Right.
It's in the response. Professionals maintain discipline. They analyze objectively. They stick like glue to their risk management rules. They actually accept the inevitability of loss streaks.
That sounds hard.
It is, but strangely, that acceptance makes it easier to navigate calmly when it happens.
That acceptance is hard, especially when that mental toll starts setting in. Let's pivot to that mindset effect. Once the capital starts shrinking, judgment just gets completely clouded, doesn't it?
That's the real danger zone.
Hmm.
When the sort of reptile brain takes over, we often fall into two immediate self-sabotaging pitfalls.
Okay, the first one, as we kind of mentioned, is the self-doubt, that fear-based approach. You start folding hands, you know you should play, you get passive.
Yeah, you're essentially letting the past dictate the present. This fear breeds hesitation on value plays, and you end up robbing yourself of profitable opportunities. You start playing, well, they call it scared money.
Right.
And that's the fastest way to turn a variance problem into an actual poor play problem.
Okay, and the second pitfall is kind of the opposite.
Huh?
The full-blown tilt, that frustration or impatience where you feel desperate to just win it all back now.
Tilt is that shift from calculated strategy to pure emotional reaction.
Yeah.
The whole decision-making process just collapses. When you tilt, you're chasing losses, you're dramatically escalating the damage, often in like one single unrecoverable session.
Ouch.
Yeah. Recognizing your personal tilt triggers, is it frustration for you? Boredom? Maybe even overconfidence? Recognizing those is essential for stopping that cycle.
And together, these pitfalls, they feed what we're calling the confidence spiral. Can you walk us through that vicious feedback loop?
Sure. It's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
The initial losses, even if they're just variance, they shake your faith. Then, reduced confidence causes poor decisions, either fear-based or tilt-driven.
Right.
And of course, those poor decisions guarantee more losses, which then erodes confidence even further. It just spirals down. Breaking this requires conscious effort, objective intervention, which is why the action plan we're getting to is so vital.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the emotional trap. Now, how do we move from theory to actual action? Repairing the mindset, it needs a strategy just as structured as fixing a technical flaw. Let's really slow down and unpack these 5 steps.
Right.
Step 1, review without blame. Now, this sounds easier said than done. How do you functionally separate the outcome from the decision when, the money's gone?
Yeah, this is maybe the hardest psychological hurdle. You must shift your focus. Stop asking, why did I get so unlucky here?
Right.
And start asking, okay, given the information I had at that time, was my logic sound? Did I execute my intended strategy? You need a rigid rule here.
Like what?
When reviewing a losing hand or decision, you are only allowed to critique the decision point. You are not allowed to critique the result. So, for example, if you correctly invested money when you were, say, an 80% favorite to win and you lost, you mark that down as a success.
Really? Even though you lost?
Yes, because you executed the strategy perfectly. The process was right. This reframes the whole thing. It turns the downswing into a mental training opportunity focused entirely on process quality.
That's a powerful reframing. Okay, step 2, reset stakes. Why is dropping down in limits or stakes so crucial, especially for someone whose ego might be yelling, no, I shouldn't have to do this?
Well, ego is absolutely the enemy here. Dropping limits, even just temporarily, maybe to much lower stakes, even play money in some context, it immediately reduces that financial anxiety.
Takes the pressure off.
Exactly. The pressure cooker gets turned way down.
Yeah.
And when that financial stress is lower, you free up cognitive resources, brain power that was busy worrying. Now you can focus purely on executing your A-game strategy, rebuilding your rhythm in an environment where mistakes are, frankly, cheap. It's not a punishment. Think of it like a temporary workshop to fine-tune your internal systems.
Okay, that makes sense. Step 3, focus on process, not results. If short-term results are so deceiving, what objective markers should we use to measure success during a losing streak?
Success has to be measured by how consistently you follow your predefined strategy. You have to become process-oriented.
How?
Instead of judging success by dollars earned or lost that day, measure it by habits upheld. Did you stick to your pre-session goals? Did you avoid making that call when you knew the math was bad? Keep a simple checklist.
Okay.
And actually celebrate sticking to your plan, sticking to your strategy, even if the results for that session show a loss. That celebration reinforces the mental reward for discipline, not for luck.
Right, rewarding the right things. Step 4, reintroduce positive routines. It seems like when people are losing, they often spiral into chaos, right? Playing longer, eating junk, skipping breaks.
Oh, definitely. Stability is essential for a stable mind. You have to actively, consciously build that routine back. This means scheduling shorter, more focused sessions, maybe 90 minutes instead of 4 hours, taking guaranteed breaks away from the screen or the table, and incorporating pre-session warm-ups.
Warm-ups, like stretching.
Could be. Even just 5 minutes of mindful breathing, light stretching, reviewing your strategic goals. It signals to your brain, okay, this is a professional, focused effort, not some impulsive act of desperation to win back losses.
Got it. And finally, step 5, visualization and mental rehearsal. We see top athletes doing this all the time, but how does mentally picturing a positive outcome actually help someone who's struggling with doubt right now?
It actually primes the neural pathways for composure. It's not about picturing winning a ton of money. It's about vividly picturing yourself making calm, correct decisions in those high-pressure spots.
So focusing on the action, not the result again.
Precisely. You're rehearsing competence. You recall past moments where you felt confident and acted decisively. You create a mental blueprint for success. So when that high-stress moment inevitably happens again,
Your brain's been there before.
your brain has already processed the appropriate calm response. It makes
Yeah.
it much easier to execute under real pressure.
That structural work, that's the recovery plan. But okay, once we're sort of out of the slump, we need to talk about building real resilience for the long haul, right? Because technical skill alone isn't enough. That ability to recover mentally seems to be what separates the perennial winners from those who just burn out.
Resilience is absolutely the muscle we need to train consistently. It's not about becoming robots immune to feelings. It's about maintaining optimal performance regardless of those external results.
Okay, how do we train that?
Well, mindfulness training is critical here. Even 5 minutes of meditation before you start your session, it can make a huge difference. It helps you recognize the physical and emotional signals of tilt. The tight jaw, the shallow breathing, that rising impatience before they completely overwhelm your logic. It trains you to observe emotions without necessarily acting on them. It keeps your focus anchored on the present decision, the present hand.
Observing, not reacting. And we absolutely have to disconnect self-worth from the bankroll, right? Seems like a toxic connection. How do we break that?
By focusing on non-monetary goals. This is such an important step.
What kind of goals?
Set actionable habits, like a goal to play a certain number of quality hands or sessions per week, or maybe a commitment to review, say, 10 specific decisions immediately after every session.
Ah,
So when you are losing money, you still get to check off these boxes. You celebrate these wins of discipline. It proves to yourself, hey, I'm committed to the process, not just chasing some fluctuating number in an account.
that makes sense. It gives you something to control.
Exactly. And this commitment leads directly to learning real emotional detachment. You need to internalize the mantra.
Yeah.
I can make the optimal correct decision and still lose this hand due to variance. That is the definition of the game.
Right.
Success is defined by the quality of your input, your decisions, not the short-term outcome. A practical tip:
Yeah.
use a journal, maybe a hand history review tool, to explicitly mark decisions you are genuinely proud of, even if they resulted in a loss. This continuously reinforces the correct mindset.
That's great advice. Now, for listeners who want to formalize this study a bit more, dig deeper, there are some cornerstone resources out there, aren't there?
Oh, definitely. Books like The Mental Game of Poker by Jared Tendler are fantastic. Also, Elements of Poker by Tommy Angelo. They're essential for understanding emotional control and building that self-awareness within any competitive framework, not just poker.
And beyond books, are there tech tools?
Yeah, beyond the books, there are some pretty great technological aids now. For instance, there's an app called Tilt Breaker. It actively monitors your session results.
How does it work?
If you cross certain loss thresholds that you set beforehand, it can actually lock you out of playing for a predetermined time. It forces that critical break.
Wow, like an automated discipline tool.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
It prevents those catastrophic emotional decisions. And then there are tools like Primed Mind, which offer guided visualizations specifically tailored to competitive performance, helping you get into that state of focus flow before you even start.
So bringing this all together, what's fascinating is the final synthesis seems to be, look, downswings are going to happen. They're inevitable.
Yep.
But confidence, that's not some gift you're born with. It's a skill. It can be developed, practiced, and actively protected through these kinds of routines.
Absolutely. Your response to the slump is what ultimately defines your long-term success. By focusing intensely on process, on objective review, and on those consistent daily habits, you ensure that the downswing actually becomes a powerful accelerator for building discipline and mental strength, rather than just a reason to burn out.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? Since we've established that true mental strength is measured by these non-monetary goals, here's the final thought. What one habit can you commit to implementing starting today, regardless of your immediate results, that will prove to yourself you are committed to mastering your mental game? Think about that one. Actionable routine. Find it, commit to it, and let's get you back to playing your A game consistently.